and we're here to talk about hobby related things and I guess sort of whatever else comes to our mind this evening. Greg, Eric,
Okay. Nice to be here. Yep, always.
so what's happening hobby wise or whatnot? I guess hobby wise, I can't say I'm paying that much attention, but certainly Instagram is flooded with things related to the new version of Warhammer 40,000. Like, I guess maybe it was this, I guess
Yeah,
this
this
past weekend, maybe it went up for pre order.
pre-order, and I think it's one of their because it's a bigger release. It's like one of the 2-week pre-orders.
Yeah.
So,
Also, I
um,
guess with that in mind, we could honestly go look.
yeah, what
So,
do people think? Like,
okay, so
it's
I'm on the US side, so that's right. It says share. So I assume that means it's not available. It's
they
available.
made this is the most boxes they've made for anything ever. They said you still can't buy it. I mean, I think it was a lot better that like it didn't wasn't just from what I gather, it wasn't like just sold out in the first 10 minutes or something. So I
Well,
mean
yeah, I
that's
think you could still
something.
buy it like several hours afterwards, at least in the United States, and I think in other countries
Several
it was different.
hours.
Well, the one thing that I thought was weird, I remember I went to the Games Workshop website, might have even been the day before the pre release, and when you went to the site, you were put in a queue to get on the
Yeah.
site, and it's like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, it's not even the day of the pre order.
Yeah. It's like I just want to look at some stuff and I'm
It's
already
like
being
yeah,
queued for.
it's like, well, that was a mistake. I knew I probably shouldn't have gone there, but
Well, because you even sent me a link because you wanted to like what show some sprues or
yeah, and
something
you
or other.
couldn't
It's
see
like,
them.
why am I being sent to a queue, Adam?
Yeah, because yeah, so I don't. I mean, I
Yeah, I don't know.
understand people being excited for a new edition of the game, I guess. But so I guess that's an interesting question. Are they also at the same time selling the book?
I don't think so. I think it's just, or maybe honestly, I don't know. But I didn't think so. I thought it was
What are the
just
pre-orders?
yeah, I thought it was just
It doesn't look
the
like
game.
it. Like, Jesus,
I'm
everything's sold out, even the books? Who even cares about that stuff? I mean, the Siege of Terra, the new Siege of Terra book, I could, in paperback, I could see people caring about that.
yeah, I don't know, it's weird. Like what do you even like I don't care about Leviathan. I guess when it was revealed I cared a bit. Like I was excited about the Terminators, but that has come and gone. And like I thought perhaps I was excited about the 40K, like, maybe this is a chance like to push me to continue to paint Dark Angels and maybe play a game or whatnot. But
No.
as as they were releasing rules things every week and stuff like
Hmm.
that, I like went into like, oh, this is interesting. Let's read. Let's see what are they. And I quickly lost interest. And this is from someone who like I would venture to say like I enjoy reading rule books,
Hmm.
like board games and things like that. But
Yeah. Um,
and I mean, maybe if I could just buy the rule book itself, like you were saying, perhaps
that's what I used to
I would
do.
be
Like,
somewhat interested in it.
feel when I was
But
in
it's
San Diego, when the new edition was released, which I don't even remember which one that was. Maybe 8th edition. Like, the one with the Primaris Marines. I
yeah.
distinctly remember going out and buying the rule book and nothing else. And I was excited about it.
I mean, I
It's
could see if like when this the 2-week window is up and it's like kind of in stores, if the rule book was in store, I could see having been like, ah, fuck it, like I am kind of excited now.
mhm.
But it doesn't seem to be that.
Also,
So I
another interesting thing. I think also, I guess was it last week John Blanche went like retired from Games Workshop. I feel that's an
hmm
interesting thing or semi-related to that. I feel in the past, whenever they released a new edition of Warhammer 40,000, in some regards, there was a lot of, at least for me, there are a lot of memories and excitement about even like the cover artwork of the
yeah,
game, like the second edition, the third edition, stuff like that. The John would do a painting for that, or like Epic and Battlefield Gothic, all that stuff. He would do a very like evocative and interesting and often highly detailed painting. And most of those paintings, I feel they did a good job of sort of almost showing you what you were getting into. And
yeah.
if you look here, the cover for Leviathan is completely different. And to me, it looks more like Space Hulk or something. But that being said, like the
Yeah,
Space Hulk games typically had a painting or something that sort of evoked what you were getting into as well. And so I don't to me this cover, while it's sort of cool and interesting, it it's sort of it's lacking a lot of that.
What it tells me is you're gonna get a shit ton of sprues.
Well, yeah, it like lacks some of the
which is somewhat
artistic
depressing.
excitement and like almost I don't even know how to say it, individuality or something. Like this.
In some sense, like it's interesting in a way that it's like Leviathan. Like this is, it almost doesn't seem like the core game, but
Well,
like
maybe they're going
they're
to
just
release a core, but I don't
they
think they're.
probably will. But it won't be like there won't be the same fanfare. It's just like here's a smaller version of a core thing that has slightly less models or something,
Yeah, they've
slightly
been
less
doing that
money.
a lot.
But I don't know, something about it, like it's kind of neat in a way that it's so focused on Leviathan and sort of that story arc. But in a way, it also loses some of the charm. Like, feel like you're getting something that has so much potential. It almost seems pigeonholed in that way. I don't know. I just,
I feel it's
yeah.
also the type of thing, at least part of it's just who I am now and what I find enjoyment in the hobby about. But it's such a big boxed game that, as Greg sort of mentioned, just lots of sprues.
Getting
Like,
them
if you get this,
screws.
there's just there's too much there to appreciate or really enjoy, honestly.
I guess it's I agree with that, but I guess from the lens, but at least from where we are in
Hmm.
our hobby journey, um,
Yeah.
if you're kind of what I'd say more at the start and just excited about a game, getting into it, like, and you're just clipping them off with your uh, mold line remover and nippers from Games Workshop and using their glue and just
Yeah.
not really trimming or cleaning and painting your first models and just I need to get it tabletop ready because I'm playing games. Like,
Hmm.
I mean, maybe that's fine, but like I'm so far removed from that now that the
But I
only
mean,
thing I'm really interested
yeah.
is maybe the Terminators. Oh, can't spell good. Cheers, guys. I'm old and used to painting miniatures when playing D&D, so this brings me back. Oh, that's nice. But yeah, no, honestly, even just that, like talking about playing D&D with miniatures and stuff, like to me, the thought about like oh getting a new core book or something for D&D or a thing like that, so much potential there, maybe art to look at,
Hmm.
things to rules to think about and how you might be able to make a cool character or whatnot,
Yeah.
maybe paint a miniature or two to really emphasize and get into that character. There's so much fun and enjoyment there that I feel this bombastic Leviathan box just sort of lacks. Or it's harder to achieve that here because it's just so much stuff.
Was
Yeah,
this I haven't paid attention to any of this stuff. Is this like the new edition of Warhammer 40,000?
10th, I
But
think.
there's not a 10th edition rule book. There's a rule book that's called Leviathan.
I think it has the 10th edition rulebook in there and like a big hardcover thing, but then it also has like a lore section, presumably specifically pertaining to what's happening with Hive Fleet Leviathan after the Great Rift occurred and stuff. So they will eventually release a rulebook that probably has minimized the Leviathan component.
Well, yeah, so it's
Um,
interesting. I wonder if I got out the core rulebook from the last edition that I have here. I don't know. I don't know how that compares with the. But I was pretty sure in the last game the thing that you bought had just a standard core rulebook, and I don't remember it having
yeah, I
like
think
the
this is slightly
name or
new.
tag of whatever the last thing was, which I don't. Yeah, I don't. So it's certainly a different thing. Games Workshop is a lot more about sort of releasing almost like special edition sets where you get tons of models and other things, whether it's like a new codex book or in this case the new rules. I feel they certainly went pretty big with this in terms of everything, with how much stuff they give you. I mean, I don't really think any of the forces are really very playable, but there's a lot there.
Yeah.
And I there have already been seen people like maybe the people from the person from Squidmore Miniatures and something else. It's like, I want to be the first person to have a fully painted like all the Tyranids or Leviathan or something. And I think they like painted the whole set already.
That's crazy. I'm kind of surprised that Ninjon, like he's often making YouTube videos, speed painting shit. And
Well,
he kind of did that again, but this was like sort of speed painting a unit, the Terminators, and that's better because
didn't he have different like a lot different amounts of time to, and then you could sort of see how the end product changed by adding more and more time effort to.
I'll be honest, I didn't watch them.
I'm pretty sure
But I
that's what it
listened to
was.
some of their podcast about it, and I guess supposedly the completed unit, he didn't paint the rubberized joints.
Whoa.
And it's just like, even though they look pretty nice and overall, like, wow, it's just such a different stage of the hobby again that I'm at. Like, I have no interest in trying to shit out the stuff as fast as possible for like, and he's not even gonna
Well,
play
it's
the
finally
game.
here.
But I mean, I
Why
guess
did he
he's
do it?
chasing the YouTube algorithm and stuff. So I mean,
Yeah.
it makes sense. But like, it's just so for such a talented painter. I mean, I guess he maybe stepping back, like he just doesn't care. He can't care about some Ultramarine Terminators. But like for as talented as a painter as he is, I just don't see the drive to
Well, I think
this.
it's interesting here. Like he's having this video where he's, I think, sort of showing you what to do to like sort of speed paint these Terminators, and it's like I feel videos like this would be will be a very good thing for newer hobbyists who are sort of trying to figure out what they can do
Yeah,
with
because
all these
he is.
models they have.
It is nice that he does a lot of these sort of speed painting videos, but it's nice that he keeps pushing himself kind of in different ways to like achieve something better in a
Hmm.
short amount of time. Like not the shit on Duncan Rhodes or whatever, but I feel so much of videos like his are just like the same thing all the time. Just painting like kind of a basic paint scheme, do the edge hot like base coat, do the wash, do some highlights. Like
Mhm.
it, I mean, I guess admittedly, I haven't watched most of Duncan's recent videos, so perhaps he's started to change. But that I feel a lot of it seems very much still the just basic GW painting type thing.
Yeah,
Um,
well, it's pretty weird. These speed painted Terminators, with them not painting, at least going in and painting the rubberized joints and stuff black.
yeah,
Because,
but oh, can't spell good. He mentioned that he painted his one D&D character like 35 years ago and like still has it. Like that's so cool. Like
that is
the thought
great.
to kind of almost like grow up with the character, even if you're not still playing with that character and you've moved on to other campaigns, that's still really cool.
Yeah.
He also mentions that back in the day, kind of we didn't have as many choices and that perhaps we cherished it more. I think there is certainly some truth to that and just being younger and so forth.
Hmm.
But now, as a discerning hobbyist, I can discern where I put that money. I don't want to dive into all that. But yeah, I think, as we were sort of saying, like, I guess I'm glad that Ninjon and some of those other painters are like using their all their skill to yeah find interesting ways of like, oh, can you use an airbrush to supplement this area or that, and like I think that's good.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
But
overall it's I think as
there's
also in
certain
addition all the Leviathan stuff, I know there have certainly been people like Instagram and stuff is flooded with people with their advanced review copies and all that stuff. I feel it's now finally gotten to a point where I think Games Workshop they have a good sense of at least certain content creators and stuff that will actually
yeah.
put out like informative content and stuff for games, like stuff like this, for instance, that Ninjon is doing. But like, there are tons of things now, and it's yeah, I feel it's an interesting time.
And you get at least a few of the obligatory posts about people being jealous that they didn't get the box, Senate
Mm-hmm.
box, but are almost like attacking the content creators as opposed
Yeah,
to like Games Workshop, who is using this cheap marketing strategy. But
yeah, I don't. It's
um,
interesting.
in terms of this is, I've been thinking about it a little bit, and it kind of goes hand in hand with this idea of like a new 10th edition coming out and
Mm.
realizing I don't think I'm that interested, even though thinking for a time perhaps I was.
Yeah.
And uh, I've been listening to some of Hive Scum, the podcast Hive Scum, some of their episodes. They recently released a new episode, and I find it interesting. Well, first of all, people should listen to Hive Scum on Spotify, and I think it's on Apple Podcasts now. They're a bunch of cool people from the New England area doing a lot of kind of Inc. 28 and 28
Mm-hmm.
focused gaming and things like that. But I find it interesting how, despite being pretty interested in converting and kit bashing and so forth, they still seem very, very focused on playing games
That's
and like
amazing.
super excited about like, oh, trying this new rule set, trying that new rule set.
Mm,
Hell, Steve is always writing rules and whatnot.
that's cool.
And like a lot of their episodes are kind of talking about some of the different games they're interested in and like, oh, what's your favorite game? And like, oh, it's Age of Sigmar. I like this aspect of it. And like,
For some reason, when you said
that's
Age of
so foreign
Sigmar,
to me.
I was thinking Age of Empires.
But I just, it seems
Yeah.
like that's so foreign to me. Like, I don't care about the rules.
But you do like reading the different rules.
Yeah, I think it's just so much. Maybe it's just where I've come in for the miniature hobby. I've
Hmm.
come to just not care too much about rules. Whereas I care about them in
Yeah.
terms of like board games and things like
Hmm.
that. And I guess when push comes to shove, if I'm gonna actually be playing in a thing, I guess I try to learn it because I care enough about that. But maybe it comes to like with our podcast and stuff.
Hmm.
I don't want it to have a lot of talk about the rules
Well,
or about
so
like what
yeah,
rules I'm trying to play because that's not me.
so that would be
And
interesting. We should try and have.
kind of like to talk with them about it.
Yeah, it would also be interesting to have some guests on the podcast to just to like talk about rule sets and stuff like that. Though.
Because I guess why I've been thinking a lot of, or more about it is because they're some of, at least in like a podcast form, they're like some of the only people I've ever come across that are more similar in their interests in the miniature
Hmm.
hobby.
Hmm.
Like they are interested in kind of the Grim 28 style stuff and making cool conversions and thinking about the lore and narrative
Yeah.
around stuff. Um, but they're still not. It's still different in the sense that they're still super excited to try like every new little thing, and I'm not. I guess that's where I'm. That's where I feel I've almost like surprised myself to realize that I guess I'm not.
I'm not that person.
Like I'm much more interested in like thinking about cool models or models to make or
Yeah.
honestly now even photographing models. Yeah, I don't know. I just
Yeah.
it's
I have
maybe
no
not.
involvement with anything.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
yeah. I
And
mean,
like,
yeah.
I guess I don't play games ever, but on the rare occasion, maybe a board game, or
Hmm.
if we go to an event. And with going to an event, I'm more jammed about meeting the people.
If you can
Mm-hmm.
get out of playing, you'll do it.
It's like the Virginia Grimm thing that we talked a little bit about with Martin that's happening
Hmm.
later in
Hmm.
July with some of the Hive Scum people. The Ruin, who's in the chat here, gonna be there helping run some stuff there. Like, I'm excited to just be with everybody, maybe play some games, but like that, I don't really care that much about that. But it comes down to like I actually have to now learn the rules for Forbidden Psalm, and
Just Morkborg.
yeah,
What is it?
I'll play Flames of Orion.
yeah, I'll play that too, Steve's game. Like I did some editing on that.
Uh,
Um,
well, I guess one thing that's also interesting, I feel our stance and kind of what we were doing with the hobby it's certainly changed over the years. I mean, when our blog started, you were talking about Dreadball and stuff, and like we were kind of excited to play that and like Deep Wars and other shit. So,
mm-hmm.
um,
Well, Bill, have you played Morkborg? Because that, like the rules, they're so straightforward. And I wonder how much different
I read the
they
rules
are in
like
Forbidden
when it
Psalm.
came out, and that's been a while ago. I think they're somewhat similar, but made slightly more complex because they're trying to get miniatures in there. But and yeah, for the event, that like Steve and friends like actually put together a rule book for it that I
that's
think
pretty
is
boss.
some modifications of one of the versions of Forbidden Psalm, perhaps the Last War. I don't know. Um, and maybe that is what stick. That's like almost comes back to this thing about like I'm somewhat disconnected there. I don't know if I saw the need to
Mm, yeah.
rewrite a rule book for that. I mean,
Yeah.
ultimately, I guess it will be It's helpful.
If somebody's excited to do it, if Steve's excited to do it, fucking do
Yeah,
it.
no, I mean, ultimately, it's good. And I mean, I guess I should read that, but I'm probably just gonna read the rules for Forbidden Psalm first, because I would rather
That would be the
be
place to start.
be refreshed at what that is. I have one of the Forbidden Psalm books. I think it's the second that was sent to me when Alex and I were thinking about
I bought it,
recording a podcast
Forbidden
about it.
Psalm, digitally,
Yeah, I have the digital version.
and I backed The Last War for the digital whatever. Because of
But I
course,
guess it just comes. Maybe I'm just coming at this again that like there are so many different avenues for enjoying the hobby,
Hmm.
and even within
my
like
avenue
a
for enjoying
niche.
the hobby is just being here.
I mean, that's
Well,
fine.
I almost feel like that's slowly becoming that's the thing I like best about the hobby too. Just being around.
I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah. Thanks for welcoming me, everyone. um. No, I mean it's yeah. Well,
Who wants to talk about that new Lictor with the cape?
oh shit, that's a thing. That's true.
I think
The
it's
Death
Death
Leaper.
Leaper, right?
Yeah,
That
whatever that
special
is.
character.
Whatever that is. Yeah.
Preliminary look at it, I thought it looked pretty good, but I wondered why he has a cape.
I think that was my thought too, and then but admittedly, I feel as I looked longer, maybe I came to find more and more things that I didn't like as much about it. Like I almost feel like I stared too long, and
Um.
I mean, they have a picture at the bottom of what the old Finecast Death Leaper looks like. And I mean, that model is such shit that would to me maybe like looking at that shit model, like anything would be an improvement over it, basically.
Yeah. It's pretty interesting. I feel it in some regards looks similar to those like Von Ryan Leapers or whatever. Like it has an overly complicated head, but I feel the head of this is dialed back a little bit. There aren't like it doesn't have a set of like lower jaws or something that's really obvious. So I feel if those leapers had a head a little more similar to this, it would be better. Um, I
I
think
think they put certain elements from the old shit model. I wish they didn't think like, well, these are iconic. Let's put them in. Like its main scything talon or whatever rending claw things. They have like just one really big, useless seeming claw. It's just like they decide like that's a core element. Let's add it in.
well,
And
one of the things that I think is very strange, you almost can't see this, or it's hard to notice, but it seems like it has almost like a scorpion stinger tail coming out of the top of its back.
yeah, that's bad to me. That's another element of like over design and like just
Yeah.
putting
I
putting
sort of
everything there.
I sort of like the tail cape thing it has. Like I feel that is a very interesting and different visual element that I feel is different, but it's not so
But why would they
overwrought
have
and
that?
overdone.
Like, why
Yeah.
would they have that?
Is it
Like,
to
is it a
like
wing
hide
thing?
itself or something?
I guess I don't
Which
know.
I feel it's interesting. Though I almost feel like it would have made more sense if it was more of a cape, like it was actually extending from his back, and then like maybe he can
It's a
change
skirt.
colors and stuff, and he can
It's a skirt.
yeah. So
Yeah, I think it's weird that he has that, and like it's almost like, but he had a tail before because he's a lictor. So like, let's have that come out from his brain stem. That's cool, guys.
I
Like,
also wish, well, the base that he's on, I would say is for a scenic base, it's pretty simple, honestly, and it looks pretty good. But you, it's sort of the type of thing is like, well, it needs that base for its tail skirt.
Yeah.
And to me, it almost seems like it's to be a vampire or something. That's why it has its skirt thing.
Yeah.
I think the thing that I like
Yeah,
least
it's
about
weird.
it is the scorpion stinger tail. It just doesn't
Yeah.
seem like it fits at all. And
One again, I
But
really
what's that
dislike
doing
the
there?
big I really dislike the big claw on each of its hands because it like makes it such that it can't use the smaller claws really cuz
oh, like the almost like the pointer finger claw.
EA is
Yeah,
so
that's
big.
stupid.
And that to me is like, well, the old model had that. People want it. It's just like, no, that was a bad design then. It's still a bad design.
Well, I think
Why
also one of the
are we
things that I
sticking with
find a
this?
little strange, it's like big, like, um, rending claw or whatever those things at the top. Like, it's sort of designed to make it look like it would like crush something, like a
Uh-huh.
walnut crusher or something. But
But
to
it's
me, it
not.
almost doesn't look like it could even do that.
I don't think it can. Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about it. I think it's more interesting than I thought it would be, and I didn't really think it was going to be a thing. So honestly, I feel if you got it, removed the scorpion stinger tail, um, changed its rending claw hands such that it didn't have the long pokey pointer fingers, that would be a marked improvement for the model. I also feel like its chestnut crushers, crushing claws, I sort of feel like there should be more little spikes and stuff, such that if it crushes something, it it would do more. It would be more effective. I don't know. I know I saw someone on Instagram suggesting that maybe the skirt thing that it has is to be a reference to like some form of octopus that has some like weird like skirt type thing in between some of its
Oh
tentacles or
yeah.
something.
Yeah, I heard
I
someone say
forget
something about that.
what octopus it was, but that's an interesting thought. But I sort
I
of
still
feel
don't feel it's executed quite as well as it could have been. Or
I feel
it's
if they were going for that idea or this thing, it would have made more sense if it almost that thing was originating from its shoulders and it could actually cloak itself
yeah.
in the thing. I could see people would hate that too, but it
I
might be easier to
I don't know.
explain
Something
it.
about this seems like the rest of the new Tyranid range. Like, not bad, but just a bit short of a good time.
I
Like,
feel
they
it's
don't seem
interesting.
like Jess
Yeah.
Goodwin designs or something.
Like I'm happy they're doing exploring a little bit more with facial designs, different facial designs, but I feel most of the newer models they've made, they I feel like they missed the mark. It doesn't really scream Tyranid to me. It doesn't really scream cool. And like to me, the face on this looks more like a demon or something you would see in Diablo
Mm-hmm.
than
About
a
that
Tyranid.
Diablo, man.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know.
It's fine.
Yeah, it's
I'm
fine.
glad I don't have a Tyranid army and don't have that much skin in the game because it would be disappointing like all the rest of the new models.
That's the truth.
Like, are there any new cool models? I guess the little gaunt things, like the new
Without the
ones that don't have
eyes.
faces, yeah, are kind of neat.
Yeah, I almost feel those are my favorite. And
There may be the
Richard
only thing I
Richard
like.
Gray painted one, and boy, does it look swell. It's on the community site as well. I particularly liked how he painted kind of like the brain matter or whatever on its back. Like, it looks sick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it looks really
I feel a thing you could do is if you were creating a new Tyranid army, is you'd go in and sculpt over all of the eyes of like
Yeah,
all of
that
the
would help.
models. I could see doing that, and I think it would be cool.
good.
I
Yeah,
could.
boy, the Ruin is asking the important questions. Any thoughts on Diablo 4? I played it 2 times since release. I had some fun with it.
I've played it a little bit. I think I have a character that's around level 39, maybe. And overall, I'd say I think I'm impressed with it.
It's fun. I like it. I'm maybe 35 or something. The only thing and I mean, I'm like a bad player. It's much better than Diablo 3. Diablo 3 was shit.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
I mean, it was kind of fun, but it was only fun in the sense that, it's fun to be playing Diablo again. I liked that when I was younger. This seems a
Yeah.
better theme, better quality of life features, less campy and dumb. Um, I did,
I like to think that Diablo 3 never even existed, but
yeah.
yeah.
I find there are some elements like I don't probably just because I'm bad at playing the game, but I have like
Mhm.
a rogue and like I just at the sort of boss things like in the like side dungeons and stuff, like I just die all the time. And to the point that like I need other people.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of stuff that I think I'm a terrible player. I don't know what anything does. I never got that serious about Diablo 3 or Diablo 2. And like I feel for both of those games, all of us, we played those when they were released. We played them a fair amount and then stopped playing them. And I feel the majority of the game that people know and love came out years and years after the initial
Yeah,
release.
I
So,
played the new rendition of Diablo 3 like a year ago for quite a lot, and it was so
yeah,
different
so I feel the
from
games that
release
I
Diablo 2.
played were nothing like what I feel
Also,
Diablo was for a lot of people.
at this stage in my life, I don't know that I have the patience to be a good Diablo player.
Hmm.
Like I'm a barbarian because I just want to hit things, but like there are all these skills that you can do that presumably like you can use them effectively to like maximize your damage, but like
Yeah.
I don't want
And
to
then
read all
maybe you're
that and
supposed to
figure
be
out.
trying to find weapons and armor and stuff that add stats or whatever to improve
Like
your
I don't want to
build.
think that hard about how to make the perfect build. Like I just want to kill demons.
And find
And
cool
that was,
looking
I think,
stuff.
one of the things that when I was playing Diablo 3 with our one friend they were serious about it. And they were a lot higher level than me. And towards the last few times I played, I was just following her around. She was killing stuff. Everything else was much too powerful for me to do anything. So, like, I would hit at the things but kill nothing. And
Hmm.
if I got hit like 3 times, I'd die. So I was just running around following her, killing things, doing nothing. It was so boring.
Well, I think
Like,
that is certainly a way that people would power level and stuff. Like or carry someone through things, whereas like you would literally just
But
stand in the
I
doorway.
remember when I started playing with her,
Mhm.
I bet I got to level 40 in 2 hours or something, or
Yeah,
even shorter. Like
yeah.
what initially took probably 30 hours of playing or something, you could now do in about 2 hours.
Yeah. My gosh. Jesus. Okay. So since we were talking here, I was on the Games Workshop website. Since that time, I literally received an email from Games Workshop saying,
Saying you were looking at
I
this.
"See something you liked, comma earlier question mark." It says, "Thanks for stopping by earlier. We noticed you were scoping out some awesome stuff. How about taking another look?" And then they said they noticed I was looking at Leviathan. It's like it's not even available. Like that's ridiculous. So, game that just seems so predatory to me. Like if I was going to buy something, I'd fucking buy it. Don't send me trash emails saying like, "Hey, come back and buy these things." And then it's even worse, like you can't even buy it.
I feel it's one thing if you like put it in your cart and they're like, "Hey, something's still in your cart. Do you want to buy it?"
Yeah.
Like that's one thing.
Like that is ridiculous.
About Diablo, guys, I think we should just proceed with the story because then you can get more potions and shit and make the game more fun.
Yeah, that's probably true. Or it has to be true.
I may never play again.
Amazon, or maybe
Well,
I
Amazon doesn't send me emails saying you've been looking at this.
I mean, maybe I'm spam filters have
Yeah, I
removed
don't think I
them.
get emails like that. Well, I feel this is a more recent thing Games Workshop has started to do. Like, I feel like oftentimes after these streams, when I'm going to bed, I check my email and, like, oh, Games Workshop sending me emails asking me if I wanted to buy stuff I was looking at. Like, fuck no, I don't.
Don't worry, Games Workshop. We're still buying your products. I'm still paying for Warhammer Plus and haven't logged on the
You
entire
have to, you
year.
have to
Greg,
quit that,
go
Greg.
stop that. Go end your subscription.
Yeah, you
All it's
need
doing
to.
is having us get sent models we don't want.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to stop.
You're not the
You
only
want,
one who's affected.
you want that money. You want to still have that money, Greg.
Yeah. Oh, I guess one thing, we're obviously not going to do it tonight, but we should. Would viewers be interested in? Would viewers be interested in us?
We don't have viewers, Adam.
Yeah. Or would people be interested in us opening these Space Marine hero models and sending them out to people? I'm at least vaguely interested to look at them because I do think they're scaled a little bit differently to like
Well,
other
you
Space
should
Marine
open
models.
one. You should open one now and send it to Bill.
Bill, do
He
you want
wants
one? We'll cut it open and we'll open one. I don't have the other camera set up to like have a good look at them, but
We probably wouldn't even want to have a good look at them.
well, I mean that's fair. So the box, it has 8 of them. Which one should I
We're
open?
only opening one.
Which one should I open? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Man, wouldn't it be sick if he got a cool Terminator?
I don't think there are Terminators in this.
I thought this was the one that there's the one captain person. Maybe not. You're probably right.
I don't
Lucky
think so.
7 seems like a good. Can't spell good, said Lucky 7.
Okay.
Thanks for still being here.
Oh, we could send one to you.
Yeah, if you want one, send an email to our blog. If you look on our
Or
website.
contact us through Instagram if you're on Instagram.
Instagram would be easier.
That's
probably.
That's
true.
probably the easier thing. If you let us know.
Well, yeah, if you let
We'll
us know,
send
you
them.
can have number 7.
Yeah, let's open 7. But I feel this is not super related, but I still would kind of like to consider getting into video making stuff with the hobby. But we
Okay.
talked briefly about unboxing stuff, but like that would require us to buy stuff.
We have the sergeant.
He's not that bad.
What's he
looking,
called?
Maybe.
Yeah, I think he's maybe okay.
Yeah, so here's the Spro. Honestly, he has a really nice scenic base. So we used to unbox a bunch of these, and I think the nicest thing about the models was always they gave you a really cool scenic base. And so this model, I think, is similar in that regard.
Do they have like a chainsword and a bolt pistol or something?
It's a grav pistol. Pretty
That's
cool.
power. That's power.
I am actually going to try to take a picture of it, and I will
But
put it
yeah,
up
about
on
making
screen.
videos and stuff, I feel while unboxing is trying to do a good job of that could be nice. That would require us to like buy more things we don't want.
So that's certainly true, though. I feel we have enough stuff that we could probably.
I suppose that's true.
So yeah, so the bases they give you are nice, and okay, can people see that? I think so.
Yeah, nah, it looks nice. Regular chainsword.
Yeah, so here's a regular chainsword. They give you 2 different heads. They both look fine. The model doesn't really have a sculpted butt, but it's
It's a
fine.
Space Marine. What do you expect?
Yeah, it looks pretty good. Yeah, so that's that one. Where did I do with the ball? Oh, the box. And it comes with a nice little box. They have a set of instructions. Do they really have? Whoa. I think they have, yeah, they have actually separate instructions for all of the models. And so I guess all of the models that they have here, they have one with a heavy bolter, a sergeant, one with a rocket launcher, and then 3 with bolters. So I sort of feel like the one with the heavy bolter is that's probably the coolest. Well, actually, do we want to open one to send to the ruin?
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah.
Which number?
Yeah, but can't spell good. If you contact us via Instagram, or I mean on our website, we do have an email address, a Gmail address that we don't do a good job of looking at. You could send us an email at that too.
Yeah.
Do people have the number?
Do number 1.
Number 1. I think this was number 1. Whatever.
Well,
Nothing matters.
That is a nice looking scenic base on that Sergeant.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Oh gosh. Ugh. No, this one. Rocket launcher, dude.
Ugh.
Maybe the weakest. God, it because
But
they
such a cool action pose.
yeah, they've sculpted the rocket. I They do still give you two different heads, so that's good.
Sculpted particle effects is always awesome. I wish there was fire on his base too.
There's a skull though, so that's fucking cool. Sick. Alright, just a second everyone. I'll soon have a picture.
Oh, I sure hope so.
Let's show people. Get excited. Get excited right now.
I'm excited.
There we
And by
go.
excited, I mean I'm not at all.
It's not a very good picture, but that's fine. Again, the scenic base is pretty nice.
Oh, it's actually there in Mark 6 arm.
Oh.
Is the helmet a Mark 6 helmet?
No.
But the armor plating is.
Yeah. This being like
That's
a
interesting.
Devastator Marine, he has like more heavily armored lower greaves.
That's fun. Like they have some nice like additional details on some of these. So like they didn't completely phone it in.
No, like they spent some time on them.
Yeah,
And I
it's the
think they are slightly larger than the normal, say, third edition Plastic Space Marines.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think the coolest one is the one with the heavy bolter. They have one with the scanner,
Well,
which
if we open one of them, we'll have to keep it for ourselves. uh,
yeah, I'll save one for you, Eric. Like, no, please don't.
God.
I don't want that.
No.
Um, but I don't know. They're cool. Apparently, I think it says somewhere on the
They're making
box.
some Primaris ones upcoming.
Yeah, so those might actually be kind of neat. I think if you buy a whole display of these, you get all 6 of them, and I think duplicates of a certain number of a certain one or something. So if for some reason you were really interested in collecting them all, probably the easiest thing to do would be to just buy one of the displays. Which,
How much are these? I mean, we're just gonna send you this for free. Can't spell good if you want it. I don't know what they would charge in a
Probably
store.
like $8 to $10, maybe.
I
I don't
forget what
know.
it costs. Yeah, they're not super expensive. They're kind of fun. And I know just
But yeah,
buying
if you
like
want one,
the whole
give us your
display.
address. Give us an address. We'll send it to you. No charge.
The whole
Thanks for
display
watching.
isn't very expensive. Like I forget how much it cost, but it wasn't that bad.
It looks like the Warhammer Heroes Strike Force Justinian is the Primaris ones.
Are they on the website or are they not
I
available?
just Google searched
What are these
Warhammer
called?
Heroes Primaris.
Let's
I
see
mean,
if
we'll still send it to Canada. I mean, even with shipping, doesn't really matter to us unless like you have to pay like heavy import taxes or something. Ultimately, we don't want this to cost you money.
Mhm. Okay, it looks like at least with the older Death Guard series, buy like the whole box, which I assume
No, it's
at
not
8 it was like
expensive.
$64. Like that's not terrible.
Oh.
The Primaris ones, honestly, looking at them, they're a little not as cool as I thought they could have been.
Ooh, they actually
But
are a little rough, honestly.
yeah,
Yeah, they're actually kind of bad.
I still feel like they would probably still be easier to convert into a usable Space Marine, like more easy than these old ones.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Our website is Between the Bolter and Me. My guess is since you're on YouTube, if you clicked our um about page, there's a like contact stuff.
I linked. I put our email address in the YouTube chat.
Okay.
One of the
Eric, I
things
haven't logged on to that email address in a while. You still have the
Yeah.
information to do it.
one of the things that is interesting, the artwork on the box like is pretty cool looking. It honestly, though it's of a Primaris Space Marine.
Yeah, it's neat. It's good artwork.
I wish the
What
Primaris
does it
Space
look
Marines
like?
look like that.
Oh, that. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, it's a shame they don't look like that.
I mean, their bolt rifle or whatever looks awful, but
The Primaris ones, a large portion of why they look stupid is because their weapons are so long. Like,
mm,
a lot of them are trying to run or move around with their bolt rifles, and they're like too long to do that.
that's cool.
But
That's
that's
so
fine.
cool.
That's fine. But yeah, that Space Marine here is.
It's good to be back. It's good to see him again.
Yeah, I
Oh,
guess
and
they must be selling okay. 'Cause they keep making them.
I mean, I feel a lot of them they could make these things with so many different units and whatnot, and I think people would buy them, particularly for people who want to make like a kill team or something. Like they're
Yeah.
okay for that. Like I imagine the Death Guard one they made sold relatively well. Like it sold out online.
Yeah.
well, so Can't Spell Good said you're actually gonna paint it.
Whoa.
Incredible.
Amazing.
What would be kind of fun if we get a bunch of people or at one point to paint the thing. Then when we send them, we could maybe post pictures of them all on our
Eric, you
website.
could paint one, wink wink.
Jesus. Maybe. Well, if we get that heavy bolter.
He's so sick.
Yeah, it would. Oh, yeah, the heavy bolter one does look
Whoa,
a
actually
bit
this is a little
better than
interesting.
some of them.
The month, which month? This month? I think this month there are 2 free models you could get at your local Warhammer store if it exists. One is one of the new Termagants, and the other is the one of the Lizardmen, like Saurus Warriors or something.
Mm.
That's actually kind of good. Like I could see getting one of the little Saurus Warriors for like Mordheim or something like that. That's fun.
Yeah.
He's pretty neat. That's a better Saurus warrior than I could have hoped for.
I sort of wish. Yeah, no, they're pretty good. They
Wait,
finally
this
look
is
pretty good.
unrelated. So Cadabra Records is, I think, maybe on Thursday, releasing a new release of Pikmin's model, the Lovecraft story Pikmin's model. And the artwork for it, Jeremy Hush did it, is good. Which, I mean, that's not surprising given the artist. But did you
Yeah.
all see it?
Yeah, it's good.
You look at their Instagram account, Adam, because I don't think they have a picture of it on their like website yet.
That is very cool.
Well, so that picture, then there's two pieces of artwork for it. The one of like the creature's face as well, which is also very good.
Yeah. I think that's in the newer subscription thing, right?
It is. It is. But so if people listening aren't familiar with Cadabra Records, they're a record label that specialize in releasing readings of horror stories. And a lot of them are like H.P. Lovecraft or Edgar Allan Poe, like older horror stories, where
Mhm.
beyond just reading, having somebody do a reading of the story, they compose music to go along with it and accompany
Mhm.
the story as like a soundtrack. And then they have excellent artwork commissioned for the releases.
Yeah, that's
And
cool.
we've been following them for a few years now, and everything they put out is great. To me, I feel like it's the coolest record label I've come across in a long time.
Yeah,
In that
no,
they're actually doing something that I feel seems fresh and different and exciting.
Yeah.
no, yeah,
Mind
they're
you, like, I mean,
very
I love
cool.
music and record labels and stuff. So not to put anything down, but awesome. Yeah, so we went to Cadabra Records 2 weekends ago, had a festival called Nightlands Festival, where they had 2 days of live performances of a number of their releases. Eric and I went, and it was superb. I'm in the process of writing something about it for my music blog, which will probably also be on Between the Bolter and Me as well. But Eric took a bunch of nice pictures of the event, but it was really good.
Yeah, no,
Probably
it
the,
was great.
or one of the highlights was the reading of an Algernon Blackwood story called The Willows. Algernon Blackwood being a fairly prolific English writer that wrote a bunch of horror stories, like ghost stories.
Mhm.
And this was, I guess, about two people on a canoe trip, and they got caught on a little island surrounded by willow trees, and the willows didn't want them there.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really, really
Wow.
cool, really well performed. The music accompanying, and it just kind of r- created a very surreal experience. I felt very
Well,
much like what you would think of, like, telling ghost stories or something around
Mhm.
a fire, and like getting just a very, I don't know, chilled feeling. And it was particularly great because the story, it wasn't obviously about like aliens or coming down or something.
Yeah.
It's like it was about some willow bushes. And
well, the
because of that,
gentleman that did the reading, Robert Lloyd Parry,
Mhm.
he was excellent.
yeah,
Um,
he I think maybe is a part of or owns a playwright and stuff, but he for a while now has become like he reads M.R. James ghost stories, which M.R. James was, I don't know, a relatively famous professor from Cambridge who wrote a lot of ghost stories and would read them or perform them or read them on Christmas Eve every year to like people, I guess, at the college and such.
That's cool.
And it released a bunch of collections of them. And I think Robert Lord Perry, will kind of do readings and stuff like that, but I think he does a lot of them by memory, which is kind of
Whoa.
neat.
Oh yeah,
That's
Eric
cool.
and I talked to him a little bit about it, and yeah, he said that he does a lot of them by memory. And for if some of you are maybe familiar with, in Providence, Rhode Island, every other year there's a Lovecraft inspired festival called the Necronomicon, and he would go there to do readings of M.R. James stories. And maybe last year it was, he was planning to do a reading of Algernon Blackwood's The Willows. And long story short, he met up with uh Chris Bozzone. I might be pronouncing his last name wrong. He's a musician that has done a lot of music work for Cadabra Records, and they like collaborated on doing a performance of it. And now Cadabra is releasing a version of that, and that was, they did a performance of that at the weekend festival thing, and yeah, it was very good.
That's cool.
And there were two Lovecraft stories that were read: The Lurking Fear and the Dunwich Horror. And the gentleman reading those was also excellent. Like, the Dunwich Horror, it's a pretty long story.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how long it took him to read it, but it was probably close to 2 hours. And wow, did he do a good job. Because if any of you have read the
It's
Dunwich Horror,
yeah.
there's a reasonable amount of dialogue
Mm-hmm.
of kind of backwater towns people. And Lovecraft does a good job of trying to emulate their speech. And
Mm-hmm.
the speaker, Andrew Lamon, did a great job of all of that. And also did a great job of presenting the villagers' rising alarm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, can't spell good yet. M.R. James, yeah, really, really cool. The one story, I mean, I've only really two stories at the moment, but Count Magnus is really a really cool short story.
Mm.
And Cadabra Records does a release of that.
Yeah, they do.
And admittedly, that might be one of my favorite of their releases that Cadabra has done. The artwork for it is also very
You could
good.
probably search that, Adam, on. They probably still have it on Cadabra's website. The artwork's pretty cool.
They do. And another thing that Cadabra has started to do is they have worked a bunch with Fabio Frizzi, who's a musician and composer that has done a lot of work for classic Italian horror films like Zombie. And Fabio Frizzi has kind of done remasters of some of his soundtracks for films where he went back and updated the things, and they've released some of that stuff.
Damn, that
But yeah,
artwork's
here's
awesome.
Count Magnus. Great.
That's
Great
awesome.
artwork. Thanks for joining, Bill.
Yeah, yeah, thanks, Bill. Yeah, the prices are pretty reasonable. Like, it's not like super cheap or everything, but like the production quality is really high, like thick double like gatefold jackets, like 150 gram vinyl. Like, they're really nice. I mean, it is a record though, so like you need to have a record player, but it's it's a neat format because to be listening to it, you kind of have to focus on the experience.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's cool, but I think a lot of these stories you could probably find the stories to read for free
Yeah.
online, but Kadabra itself is cool just because of the time and care they put into finding like a voice that is suited to the story and then composing music to sort of accompany it as well as artwork. And they often also, since most of them are like gatefold jackets and such, they will have some sort of historical pieces and stuff written about them to give you kind of some background about the author and maybe some context behind the stories themselves and things like that, which is pretty neat.
But yeah, the prices are pretty good considering like everything's a very nice production. Like to the point that I wonder how they could be making too much money on any of it
Yeah.
with the amount of effort that they put into all of the releases.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, they're really cool. I look forward to them hopefully doing another one of these festivals at some point.
Yeah, hopefully they do another.
Wait, Cadaver Records is part of a permanent collection at the Library of Congress. That's excellent.
Yeah, I just read that. I didn't know that. That's cool.
Because I know Jonathan Dennison, the owner of the label, had mentioned a bunch about like he's trying to make something that like stands up and it is a part of history and is commemorating these things.
Yeah.
So that's cool to see.
A noble effort.
And one thing that I'd be interested to know about, so a lot of the stuff that they have done is older things like Lovecraft and stuff that is in the public domain.
Mm.
So they've done some releases of some newer writers like Thomas Ligotti, and presumably with that they have to um pay royalty fees or do stuff
Yeah.
pertaining to that.
Yeah.
And I presume that makes it harder. And I
Yeah.
know he has spoken in the past with releases of newer stuff doesn't sell as well as like a Lovecraft story. So I feel like that could make it even more difficult for like, all right, we want to try to get the name out of some newer authors, but on top of there being more that one has to do to get the rights to release it and stuff, they then don't sell very well.
Yeah, but well, I guess maybe somewhat of a preview. Greg and I are actually going to be doing an interview with one of the people from Cadabra this Thursday for 28 Magazine's podcast 32. So you can expect that at some point relatively soon.
I look forward to
Yeah.
listening to it.
But yeah, they're cool. Like if you like weird fiction, certainly something to look into.
Yeah. Also, what says everyone? Do you think we want to draw the stream to a close? We've been going on for a while.
Yeah, I
could
feel.
go to bed.
Yeah, we mostly talked about what we wanted to talk about. Also, I guess thanks everybody for joining us this evening and listening to us ramble on about things.
Mm-hmm.
Keep on enjoying the hobby. Stay safe, stay healthy. Until next time, over and out.
Yep.
Yep.
See you,
Thanks,
everybody.
everybody.